That's a Shame is brought to you by the people who support us over at patreon.com/shamecity.
If you have $1,
$2.
$1 to spare, join us again at patreon.com/shamecity. Please.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 137. That's 137
Yep.
of That's a Shame. I am Declan.
I am Isaac.
And we say this because you might have forgotten,
Been a while for
given
sure.
that we, not only was there not an episode last weekend, we didn't even say, sorry, there's
we
no
didn't say
episode.
anything.
It just sort of didn't happen.
But that's authentic, isn't it? To
Yeah.
be like, look, you know what we're like. We were busy. I can't even remember what we were doing. I think I was being ill.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I was being the saddest I've ever been
There you go.
in my whole life.
Well, so we were both busy, is what we were saying.
Do you remember when we did the original Block Switch project, and the
Yes.
original idea was that we actually wouldn't talk to any of our families or friends while it was going on? But then it lasted for 4 months or something stupid.
Had to break that
In the
silence.
end, people were
acquiesced.
crying, the police were at our door.
But welcome back into the fold, ladies and gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary. We are back in a big way, would you say?
Oh yeah,
You're blending in with the curtains today.
that's my job.
I can't tell where you start and where the window frame ends.
It's like a sort of Victorian ghost story. I'm going to slowly become the furniture.
That's really cool.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
It's really good that you'd bring that new element to reinvigorate a show that some have called in its death throes, final spasms of life.
You intimated on the quickfire shame that we just did that we've broken all the new ground there is to break.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I'm
I've
here to
checked.
tell you that you are wrong,
No way.
because I've built some content.
Well, I thought I'd left no stone unturned, but now that I come to think of it, I actually did not check most of the area where the stones were. So I just assumed that if these ones had been turned,
then why couldn't you
the rest are
extrapolate
probably
that to all stones? Yeah, no, it's fair.
specious though.
This content idea came to me because in one of our recent episodes, we had a little visit from the Angel of Content.
That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, very odd.
Really lovely guy, I thought.
Nice, to the point.
Yeah, blunt,
Threatening.
horrible. Yeah, I hated it. The Angel of Content.
His countenance was despicable.
Well, it was a big digifright.
And his voice
Oh, a
left
nightmare.
me in tatters.
An ear nightmare. Yeah.
Oh, no, a nightmare.
Ah, nice.
There we go.
There is
Thought you
new
might.
ground to break. You're right.
But there was a slight moment of unfairness when the angel visited, because you see, we had to answer a riddle.
Yeah, that was mad, wasn't it?
And
They're always doing that, though, the angels.
they can't stop.
Angels and Sphinxes, my proposed sequel for Dan Brown to get his teeth into. They cannot get enough of the riddling.
But
It's a power thing.
you quite rightly put yourself forward as puzzle solver, as riddle solver.
Champion solver.
Do you want to explain, why that is? Why?
Well, I suppose at the root of the matter is the fact that I'm an only child. And
Ah.
from that comes a lot of, free time to just spend with your thoughts and with endless books of puzzles of all sorts. And
And then once the internet came into your life,
yeah, my only achievement in life in many ways is having my name on the top of a leaderboard. And it's not even my name. It's a username that I don't even use for anything else anymore. So
what is it?
I think it could be a Poirot variant, actually, or it could be, there was a period where my username for stuff was a misspelt version of the word Poseidon. I have no idea why. I've never been into Greek myths.
And yet elsewhere you have the name Zeus.
Yeah, that was given to me by someone else, though.
Right, yeah, it's
That was
nothing
a
to do
different
with
a god
a very obvious, not so much beneath the surface as is the surface.
Well, it's all there
the
is.
simulacra that is Isaac.
Yeah.
The god complex.
But I've never been into... I'm not a big fan of the sea. You know this about me. I find
you're
it
not a big fan of the
frightening,
sea.
alarming,
Wet.
a death place,
Damp.
a place to drown.
Beyond compare.
Scary and alarming. So yeah. But anyway, my claim to fame is that when it was like the summer of 2007 or something like that, and I was on holiday where my dad was living at the time.
Season 2 of Heroes was on.
Oh, it was crazy days. You'll remember we were all running around the streets talking about saving
The
the
writers'
cheerleader.
strike,
It was
ruining
big.
good art left, right, and centre. Solidarity, though, lads.
And I was hanging out in the restaurant that my dad ran, which meant that I had a lot of free time in the day while he was working with a laptop. That I didn't own a laptop back in the day, so this was all very novel. I found on the internet there was a big riddle website going on, and it was like just launched, coincidentally. So I got embroiled and immersed in this community of solvers. And it was, there was a lovely atmosphere of digital camaraderie pervaded,
Wow.
a very festive vibe.
That's really nice.
And anyway, solved it, didn't I? First in the world.
It was like a series of riddles,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
And they're very obscure things. They're not like my first is in. They'll just be like a picture of a compass, and then you have to kind of do your best. If anyone's interested in those things, and I think they are objectively interesting.
Yeah, they are.
I've recommended before and will recommend again amnesia.com, which is amnesia with a Y rather than an I. And have a look. It's fun. It kills some time, and it's an interesting like little internet subculture thing for you to get involved with.
Now, that story implies, quite correctly, I think, that you are a good puzzle solver and riddle solver.
Sometimes.
And
Got my niche.
but in that episode, you struggled a little
I
bit.
fumbled it, yeah,
You
because
got-
I was overconfident.
You got lulled
Yeah.
into giving a pretty obvious answer.
Yeah, it was hubris. Plain and simple.
to the one about the Dyson Airblade, and then the next one, you just jumped straight in with
I said something dumb, and the answer was S. Pembrash.
no. The answer was Smash, and you said
Either way
S.
around, I
Pembrash.
don't think. Yeah, it's unclear which one was correct. But
Yeah, well, to you maybe, but
yeah, to anyone who's listening,
um,
the Angels of Content would have accepted it. I'm sure if I presented.
well, he
it.
definitely didn't.
If I presented the case,
He
though,
actively didn't, and I
sometimes
I had
it's quite
to-
good puzzle design to have multiple answers so that you can't like just make it Googleable. Like I couldn't write a blog that's like, if the Angel of
Although,
Content comes
isn't
knocking.
isn't it more Googleable because there's just more answers to find?
No, thanks for checking.
Okay, good. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that, we don't want your ego wounded by that kind of
Defeat.
humiliation.
Yeah, utterly cucked by riddles.
Well, yeah, by words, by a fucking digi-angel that was just me typing into a
Whoa!
text-to-speech. Oh, no. A quick peek behind the curtain. So what I thought I would do is I would collate and indeed create some riddles for you to solve here today.
Okay.
Show off your wiles.
Wow, I can't wait to be sailing through all of these. Let me tell you.
I have been quite conspicuously sat in the living room for, frankly, hours
Yeah.
preparing this bit by bit, piecemeal, and rather suspiciously laughing to myself at various things that I've found. And I haven't been able to tell Isaac any of what it is.
So it's a reveal for all of us listeners.
But the first was from the Wikipedia page for the riddle. Because I was looking up to see in my research phase, which obviously happens for every episode.
Yeah. Well, we leave days
quite
and days for
copious.
it. Usually, it's a bit of a
Couple
shame that
weeks.
you've only taken hours today, but
To see if there are different types of riddle, like stratified, which apparently there are,
sure.
which are enigmas and conundra.
Wow. Okay.
But there was a fantastic sentence here about the history of the riddle. So it says, Archer Taylor says that, quote, we can probably say that riddling is a universal art.
Okay. I don't like the word riddling
I know.
already.
And cites riddles from hundreds of different cultures, including, and then lists many others. Many riddles and riddle themes are internationally widespread. However, at least in the West, if not more widely, quote, riddles have in the past few decades ceased to be part of oral tradition, being replaced by other oral literary forms and by other tests of wit, such as quizzes.
Oh no. Quiz is the new riddle.
That's such a grim sentence.
I do like the idea of people in the past all hanging out and doing riddles.
Just riddling at each
That'd be
other.
good, wouldn't it?
No.
Oh, it'd be fun. Maybe.
I think that it would get old very quick and it would lead to things like Oscar Wilde who
Things
you don't
like Oscar Wilde.
hugely enjoy.
Not always, yeah.
No, but
Every aspect.
I can imagine him
Loving a riddle.
very smugly sitting there having written one of those riddles that isn't actually answerable, which we are going to come to later, the sort of impossible riddle.
Okay.
So as with many things, as with many spheres of content, the first port of call was, of course, Reddit, and there is obviously a riddles subreddit
No way.
for people to submit and answer
Is it
their
our
own.
iddles or our riddles?
No, it's our riddles.
Dumb fucks, the bunch of them.
I will check afterwards if our iddles.
I
is
wouldn't,
one,
because
but
if it's not that, it's going to be
it's gonna
something,
be
so profoundly upsetting.
so quarantined,
so bodily.
Now, there's a real. You wouldn't necessarily have guessed this or believed this, but there's a real horrible bunch of people on the old riddles subreddit who are sort of smug, nowhere near as clever as they think they are. Many of them posting some of the oldest and most blatant riddles ever written. Some of the most like popular culture based riddles.
Yeah.
And being like, don't Google the answer. Well, no need, pal.
Yes, I can imagine that being the case. It would probably be a bit like an amateur magician's forum, where like for someone with low self-esteem,
Hey guys, pick
setting
a
a
card.
riddle or knowing one trick is a good substitute for a personality.
Yeah,
Because it's like an I know something you don't know thing. Isn't it?
I've got it. I've got the answer.
I know the answer.
And obviously, a lot of them are trying to create, and indeed are creating their own riddles
Wow.
and posting them in order for the community to get involved.
To get their teeth sunk into them.
Exactly.
Into the riddle flesh.
And
the
to
flesh of
answer
the
them.
riddle.
So, let me start you with one,
Okay.
and we'll see where we go from there. Riddle me this.
Is that how you're going to start? Oh,
That's the title.
That's actually how it goes.
That's actually the title from Megan Curry. I breathe and feed myself like anybody. I'm often the tallest, but do not play basketball.
Is that right?
I am everywhere, but I can't move. On a hot day, you can count on me to bring you a cool seat. What am I?
I'm going to go through it in order just to get a glimpse into the thought process of a master riddler.
A real Jonathan P. Uzzle, if ever there was one.
Oh, I forgot about him. God, I wonder what he's up to.
I breathe and feed myself like anybody.
So straight away I'm thinking, it's a person.
Oh!
If they're saying it's like anybody, then I've got to know.
You've got to know that it is like
It's what it
anybody.
could be.
Yeah.
So straight away you're like, which one, which person? Because there are, I don't know if you know this, loads of them.
That's hundreds.
Just today I've seen dozens of them.
I am often the tallest,
So that narrows it down.
but do not play basketball.
So they're Dutch. It's a Dutch person.
I am everywhere, but I
Now that was where I stumbled, because I was thinking, I have not seen a Dutch person since I left uni.
right.
That
yeah,
I know
so-
of. I mean, maybe I've spotted a Dutch person wandering around.
But maybe this is because of this bit. I am everywhere, but I can't move.
And again, I'm pretty sure, like, correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay, go on.
that they're a mobile bunch, the Dutch.
I don't think you need to be using that sort of libel here on the podcast.
Okay, well, and then the final line.
On a hot day, you can count on me to bring you a cool seat.
Well, they're a very generous bunch.
They are.
Amsterdam is a very popular city to go to because not only of like the weed culture and the bikes, but because of the
People
hospitality.
are always throwing chairs at you.
They love. I think they invented the beanbag, the cool beanbag.
The most throwable chair of all.
Let me just scan that against all. Yeah, it is the most
there we go,
throwable
yeah.
chair. Although, what about those stools that fold into like that and you could javelin
Oh,
one?
I haven't even thought of that.
Yeah,
See,
wow.
this is why you're the master riddler.
Easily done, my son. I'm going
So-
with a tree.
It is a tree.
Oh, a Dutch elm.
Specifically.
specifically.
I see.
Yeah.
I like it.
I just thought of that.
They are often the tallest, but they don't play basketball.
They're not often the tallest. That doesn't mean anything. Often the tallest what?
It just doesn't mean what I like.
Tallest.
I like
the
as
game.
well. You can count on me to bring you a cool seat. Like the trees, like the ants are
Providing
just
shade, like-
wandering it over to you.
It's a great riddle.
Yeah, sorry. I don't want listeners to think
That
that we're mocking it.
No. That is, who was it, Megan Curry?
Yeah,
That's a 5-star riddle, Megan.
5-star riddles.
Seal of approval.
Wow.
Ding! That's the sound of the seal.
Here's another one. Oh, goodness me.
Okay.
This is from Info Teaser, which is a great name for a riddler.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You
Pretty
put
hot.
me on a table and cut me, but you don't eat me.
Okay.
What am I?
Well, I mean, the problem with some riddles is
there is
that there
only-
are so many different...
Well, no, there's only one.
Yeah, no, I was saying the problem with some riddles is there are so
sorry.
many options. But
Right.
obviously this is not one of them because this is... He's teased the info so carefully.
Clearly
that
refers
it can
to...
only be a chopping board.
No.
Oh.
You fucking fool.
Well, a patient in an operating theatre.
No.
Well, both of those work.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Champ Dufresne said surgical patient, and someone else responded, not the person who wrote the riddle.
Uh-huh.
Technically, some people do eat that.
Well, some people do eat anything, you
so-
fucking dud.
So I'm afraid you've been outsmarted.
I've been outsmarted. This is a 2-star
It was
riddle at most.
obviously the only thing to which this could refer, which
You
is a
put them
deck
in-
of cards.
Because you have to cut them on a table.
Yeah, you can't do that in the hand.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Zing, they got me.
That's a 6-star riddle.
Hats off to the riddle. 10-star.
You've
If it can beat me, that doubles the star rating.
Wow.
straight away.
both my riddles last week were 10-star.
Easily.
Incredible to
that
think.
Dyson Airblade one that you said your riddle, but obviously it was from the Angel content. That's an 11-star riddle with the Celestial bonus.
That is good to know.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better, even though obviously it is the Angels.
This has just brought to mind something that I meant to tell you years ago now,
Okay.
which was, you may remember, because it was quite an enigmatic thing to send you. It must have been like 4 a.m. one night. I think we might have been at uni even. It was a while
I
ago.
remember what this is, but I can't
I sent you a
exactly
message
what it
saying,
was.
I've just been in the longest, maddest conversation. And I won't be able to do justice to the full series of events, but it got me into, like, I'll paint a picture of what I ended up feeling like as a result of this conversation. All you need to know is it started with someone in a Discord server that I was in saying, I've got a riddle that I came up with. It's actually from my life. It's something in my life.
Right.
Can you solve it? And someone being like, well, yeah, tell me what it is. And then honestly, 5 hours later, it was so long. It was solved in a manner of speaking, but all the intervening period was just the most, like, the stupidest, most circular conversation. And I was just reading it, and I don't think I was drinking or anything because I was by myself, so I don't usually do that. But I felt like just off my head. I was like, I'd been reading this madness spiraling around for so long and getting involved because it sucked me in. It was on like my second screen. I was doing something else. I was doing work, and I was like reading it and like glancing over and glancing back, and then just getting slowly more invested in this idea.
What was the thrust?
The idea, oh man, if I could remember the solution, it would be so good. I'll have to look it up. But the premise was something like, I live in a house in the middle of nowhere. Whenever I leave my house, I have a garage. I step backwards out of my house into the garage and then walk backwards out of it. Why? And so hours and
there's a
hours
couple
were
of
spent being like,
answers.
well, are you
Are you
mad?
just
and he'd
a
be like,
total
no,
freak?
I'm not. And you're like, okay, but like,
Does the riddle depend on you being
yeah.
mad?
And we had to like ask questions that like to gauge the level of person that you're working with,
Yeah.
which is always a really interesting underexplored aspect to the riddle. Is like you have to have a lot of trust in someone setting a puzzle, like playing a game, I guess.
Yeah.
That they have your best interests at heart and that they've attuned the parameters of their puzzle to what is potentially solvable but still challenging.
Yeah, and also that they haven't got it wrong.
They haven't got it wrong. They haven't relied on a piece of knowledge that they think is common but is actually
or
extremely
that you
obscure.
couldn't have.
Yeah. And so a lot of it was just trying to attune to this stranger who was the maddest, like most clearly mental person.
And we'll never know why he walks.
I'll have to look it
backwards.
up, but there were so many, like, what would be some of your guesses? That
Well,
I'll be
I
able to
don't
shoot
have
down?
any. He's a freak.
Some of the questions were like, a ladder. Like I think that was my first.
Oh,
like,
right.
are you like above and you have to go down a ladder? He was like, no. One of them, it became very dependent on footwear as well. Like on the way that if you were walking into a pair of shoes, you might like go heel first and then slot in to save some time or something. And it just, honestly, it went on for, I must try and find the transcripts. It was the most outlandish nonsense I've ever participated in.
I remember that so clearly, you sending me that message and refusing to tell me what it was about because it was going to be
It was
show
just too
content or
hard.
something.
No, it was
at
before
some
the
point.
show, I'm sure.
But I think you were going to talk about it on the old
Oh, maybe, yeah.
and then never did. And then we brought it up a bit like a year later.
It became one of those things that's like, you had to be there to really feel the madness. But I'll try and remember what the answer was.
Yeah, I'm
because
fascinated
It
now.
was so outlandishly banal. It was like the dumbest reason. And everyone was like, well, you could not go backwards. And it was like, I couldn't.
It's just,
I just couldn't.
It's my choice. That's the real riddle.
Oh, it was amazing.
Here's another one for you. You should get this one because just because you messed up the last one a little bit.
Yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dropped the ball.
I'm going to give you a little clue to start you from this one, which is that it's very in your field.
Okay.
It's another What Am I riddle.
Oh, I love
this
that.
one by Dr. Schalke,
Wow.
PhD, I'm assuming.
Of course.
I answer quanders, questions, queries.
Mm-hmm.
At your call, I can be leery. Fount of stories, history, and knowledge. Just one word, and I'll acknowledge.
I'd say it's Alexa.
Yeah, it was Siri.
Okay, well, Alexa's a better one because Siri requires 2 words to speak to.
They were very wrong.
Idiot!
Dr. Schalke. Oh, no, I think you're right. I was thinking Amazon Echo, but same thing they've said.
Okay.
So
Fair, I'm really sorry.
just take
Doctor.
that back.
That was honestly uncalled for. That was some of the rage that's just left in me after the second one.
Now, this isn't just a forum for people to post their own riddles.
Uh-huh.
It seems also that people can request riddles.
Oh, in what sense?
Well,
on a topic?
Well, in this sense, in that one of the posts that I found that's potentially one of my favourites from the subreddit is simply titled, "Need a riddle where the answer is stick."
Why? Why do you?
Because they're DMing a D&D game and have an idea for a troll that won't let the group pass until they answer 3 riddles, but the answers are all stick. I already have 2.
You have 2 of them.
The dumber the better. Thanks.
That's very good. What did they come up with for that?
So the ones they had already were, what do you call a boomerang that won't come back? And
It's not a riddle.
and what's brown and sticky?
Again.
Someone said, what can break bones but are not stones?
Okay. A little bit laboured.
Someone else said, without me, it's just another insect. What am I? Or something like that. It's pretty bad.
That's so sweet. I really like that one.
Oh dear.
That's such a great idea it's sort of something a serial killer might do. Like I would not be surprised if they found a crime solved by looking at like, need a riddle where the answer is, let me out of this basement.
I need a riddle where the answer is the code for the bomb. Now, I've given it to you easy thus far.
Yeah.
Now I need to give you a harder one.
Okay, well, I'm not ready for that.
Well, I'm sorry, but
I just need you to know.
no. Well, this is it. I'm
Place.
going to teach you to swim by throwing you right in the
Oh,
sea.
God. Okay.
This is posted by 420 the Weirdo.
Wow, okay.
With weirdo, I-N-E the wrong way around. So
That is wired.
extra weird. And their title is Somewhat Hard Riddle.
Somewhat interesting.
Here
Underplaying it, maybe.
Here is the riddle.
Okay.
I have 6 heads, 200 fingers,
Bloody hell.
20 hearts, and 11 legs and arms. What am I?
6 heads, 200 fingers.
Yeah.
So there are 20 people if there are 20 hearts. That's what I'm going with. So
14 of them have no head.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I was thinking maybe it could be like metaphorical, like heads of government.
Oh, okay.
Like it could not this, but like this, the EU. Like that sort
Right,
of thing.
okay.
Like the European
And between them,
Council.
they've got like legs being
Yeah, or you could find out that like,
administrative
the
legs.
Supreme Court is staffed by a lot of amputees, something like that.
Right, yeah.
That's where I went first.
Or
200
like,
fingers,
by
20
law, a
fingers.
judge counts as 10 people. So he's got 10 hearts.
Sounds pretty criminal bit of law. What was the last bit after?
11 legs and arms.
11 legs and arms. That's
Yeah.
a very ambiguous and.
Yeah.
And obviously concerning in the lack of an even number there.
That might give you something of a clue to the
11
answer.
legs and arms. No, nothing's coming to me off the bat. I don't want to waste people's time with live solving.
Well,
It was somewhat hard.
it was somewhat hard. Here's the conversation between DL Gamer L, who got the correct answer,
Nice.
420 the weirdo, who responds to the answer, and then a brief conversation between 420 and Sir T3J,
Oh,
who just wanted a bit of clarity.
That's fair enough.
D Gamer L said, a liar? And 420 the weirdo said, correct. Explain, says Sir T3J. I lied about having those parts, which made me a liar. Ah, I see. Cheers. Cheers.
Very good. I mean, the wool's been pulled over my eyes.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
you got super cut
I
by
got
that riddle.
I was had by it because what I went into it kind of assuming there was like a good answer to it.
Yeah,
but there was a great
there was.
answer. And that's egg on my face.
Let me tell you though that Oh Lord Vadero came up with the best answer, which I think has gone criminally underrated.
Give him some gold to make up for.
I've tried to give him an upvote, but it turns out I wasn't logged in, so I couldn't.
That's upsetting.
And his answer was the finish line at the Boston Marathon.
Wow, that's offensive, old pal.
And that wasn't correct.
No.
Although 420, quite humbly, I would say, said nope. Why though?
Wow. Try giving it a Google.
Try giving a quick Goog. Now,
Okay. Wow, that was challenging.
enough of that style of riddle.
Oh, really? We're pushing that.
We're moving on to
Wow.
something.
This is a whistle-stop
much
tour
better.
of the riddle world.
Look, there's a lot to get through.
Absolutely.
A
there is.
lot to get through. And this next one is long.
Okay.
It's long. And I just want you to strap in and
Okay.
prepare. Because this,
Do I have to take notes?
you are probably going to want to.
I'm not gonna. I don't have a
Okay.
pen. I don't have. I'm
I'm
working
going to
on.
tell you now, it won't make the blindest a bit of difference. We're walking now into an artist,
Wow. Okay.
into their world.
I love doing that. There was a quest in the Elder Scrolls 5 Oblivion where you have to. Maybe it's 4.
4, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Where you get a message from someone to go to a house because someone's really upset that their pal's gone missing, and he's lying there in the bed, I think. But basically, he's trapped in his own paintings. He was trying to do some cool magic on it, and he gets trapped in a painting world. So you have to go in the world of the paintings to explore and find
that's
him, and
very
everything
cool.
takes on that painterly. It's really good.
I like that.
Very good game. Much
Now
better
that-
than Skyrim.
Much better also, let me tell you, than Spyro 2 Ripto's Revenge,
No.
in which
Don't underplay Spyro 2 Ripto's Revenge.
I encountered a level recently,
Yeah.
and it's, let me just say, a good job the flat was empty
Why is
when I
that?
encountered this level.
Why is
Because
that then?
I had a bit of a scream at it, because here's what happened. There was a little side quest
Yeah.
that took the form in a sense of a kind of riddly sort of game. It wasn't a platformy kind of level.
Okay.
Basically, the professor was there and he'd lost his pencil.
Oh, what is he like?
I know, right?
Get an iPad.
So he said, what I've got instead is an egg.
Not a good substitute. No.
So he said, take the egg
Yep.
and go and get my pencil back.
How's the egg going to help?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. That was like
all.
your payment.
That was all he said.
Right.
So I wandered around for a bit, and then I had literally no clue what to do. So I went back to him, and I spat the egg out, I think.
Wow.
And he went, "Oh no! You won't be able to trade the egg directly for the pencil. You'll have to figure out another way. Do you need another egg?" I was like, "Okay, I'll take another egg." Well, I walked every inch of this
Of Spyro
fucking
Town.
map, and there was nothing to do with this fucking egg. So I bit the bullet and had a little look at a YouTube video about how to get the professor's sodding pencil back.
Yeah.
And here's what you had to do. There was a random place in the level where if you stood on a box and looked up, you could see a nest. And if you spat the egg at the nest, the bird would throw out a little seed. And then if you took the seed, there was a plant pot. And if you spat the seed into the plant pot, a plant would grow and spit out a rubber duck. And if you swallowed the duck and swam in the river and went down to the end, there were some ducks. And if you spat that out, the ducks would give you a little bottle of, like, a vial.
Right.
And you take that, and elsewhere, hidden somewhere, was a cauldron. You spit that into the cauldron will give you a coin. You take the coin to the fountain, you spit the coin into the fountain gives you the pencil back.
Why did the professor
And
bury his pencil in his web of mystery?
There was not a single bit of
In-game
direction
hint.
or hint
That's
or
so
nothing.
funny.
These were just things randomly scattered.
God,
Like-
old games, hey?
Talk about, you've got to trust
Yeah.
the person setting the puzzle.
Yeah, they
That-
get it. It's finally
that
obviously
there's-
you spit it at the nest.
That in the Spyro canon, there's nothing like this before or after
It was
to
a
set this
single-
precedent.
single
It was
experiment.
that they decided to leave in the remaster. Some have said poorly.
Erroneously.
So I don't want to talk about those sorts of riddles. I'm talking now about the story, the classic parlor riddle, as
Yeah.
it were.
Priddle, we call them.
No, not on this show.
Okay.
And thankfully, because of user Nalkarj, we have one. Nalkarj is a somewhat prolific poster
I
in
can
the
imagine.
old riddle
Yeah,
subreddit.
yeah.
And they have their murder mystery puzzles. And that's, you love all of these things.
Yes, I do.
So I thought, here we go. And you also love great literature.
I'm a big fan.
Big fan.
Just today I was looking at some words.
Earlier today?
Yeah.
And you've still found time to come and do this?
Yeah.
You do bless us.
I know.
Here we go. This is called The Unhinged Man.
Whoa.
A puzzle for you, my lord, said Alice Little, the famed poetess. The puzzlers...
Poetess! Come on. 2019.
The puzzlers, that select and secretive organisation, was having its monthly meeting. Geoffrey Lord, the detective story writer, sighed, put down his magazine, removed his spectacles and polished them with a handkerchief. All ready, he murmured. All ready, snapped Lee Shapiro, the attorney. Another test of wits. That every colour on the canvas business was a giveaway. That's referring to a previous riddle.
Nice.
It's your turn to provide us with a puzzle next week, Sidney Malkin, the stockbroker, explained. Alan Tewksbury, the Columbia Classics professor,
Everyone's got a worse name than the person before them.
was as taciturn and aloof as ever.
Wow, I bet he was.
Ready when you are, Mr. Lord said cheerfully. Shapiro started. There's an undercover detective investigating an international oil smuggling ring. Sounds like a pulp story to me, Jeff put in. Let me
Shut
finish.
the fuck up, Jeff.
Let
you
me
fucking
finish,
idiot.
Lord. The police find him a few days later floating in the East River. Doesn't he know it's polluted? Dead. Of course, shot. Now, he's got a note in his pocket, soaked, but the police are able to make it out. Obviously, the killer neglected to go through the detective's pockets.
Obviously.
Awfully obliging of him. Lord's a bit of a wit, you see.
What is he like?
I know.
He's crazy.
Mr. Shapiro's face looked a bit like a tomato.
Anyway, back to the riddle.
So Miss Little did him the favour of picking up the slack.
Yeah.
Please, Mr. Lord, there are 5 suspects for the identity of the murder. 5 criminals. Hitmen, Shapiro snapped.
Tomorrow.
I believe that's the term, said Miss Little, blushing.
Why is she blushing?
Well, they're the 5 criminals whom the smuggling ring usually uses. William Cardinal, Edgar Swan, Terence Crane, Norman Crowley, and Sam Ravenwood. Now, the note in the detective's pocket has these 5 names on it, and then follows it up with this. I now know that the killer is the unhinged man.
Wow.
That's your question then, Mr. Lord. Which of these 5 is the unhinged man, the detective's murderer? First things first, Mr. Lord murmured. None of these suspects was crazy, I suppose, unhinged, as the word is most often used. Not any more than any other hitman, came Shapiro's response.
He's seen that avenue in advance and he's blocked it right off.
But don't worry, because Lord replies, didn't think so.
No,
he wasn't moving. You know, you've got to cover your bases, but he could see through that it was probably more complex than that.
He knows what he's doing.
And none of the suspects has any particular connection to a to a door or a gate or anything like that.
Well, they are user.
No
John
more.
Tewksbury
No
fucking
more.
loved a gate.
The Ravenwoods, they can't get enough. Oh, correct. No connection there.
What a stupid avenue of investigation.
Well then, two more possibilities before I have to do some actual pondering. No suspect had any knowledge of biology, did he? A hinge in biology is a ligamentous joint, as in a bivalve shell.
Wow.
That's some good organic knowledge to bring in there. Yeah. They're all hitmen, Lord. Shapiro
They
shut
ain't
up.
studied shit.
Not eggheads.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Professor.
This guy's a bit of a wild card, isn't
Yeah. The only other possibility then, Jeff continued, smiling, was the note written on an envelope or on letter paper. A hinge may refer to a piece of gummed paper used to fasten a stamp on an envelope or in an album. No envelope, no letter, nothing like that, Mr. Lord. I didn't think so.
Oh,
He's done them again. He lulls them in by going down that route. And then as soon as it's closed off, he's like, well, obviously not. That wasn't real. Idiot. I was doing that to trick you back. That was a
real riddle?
That was a counter riddle.
Very good.
I didn't think so. Well, if the word hinge wasn't used literally in this puzzle, I can suppose the detective was some kind of wordsmith or maybe a riddle lover.
Wow, convenient.
You can say that, Malkin said, nodding.
How did Malkin know?
Don't worry about it.
What's the setup here? Like, are they all just ganging up on this one freaky
guy
who doesn't even like riddles?
Not quite as good at solving riddles as it seems. Well, you will permit me to write those Volacrin names down, won't you? Volacrin, you said, Lord, muttered Professor Tewksbury, rising from his chair. Indeed, Professor. But the solution has nothing to do with the names. Well, except for one name.
Except for the name that's the answer, of course.
Ah, said the Professor, who, seeming slightly annoyed, fell back in his seat.
Why? It's a bit dramatic.
It helps, said Mr. Lord cheerfully, after having written down the names, if you know the derivation of one word in particular. And that one word is...
If he says the word hinge.
He stopped suddenly, all the cheer leaving his face.
Why?
I'm a fool. Damn, yes, he snapped, looking at a certain member of the puzzlers. You clever devil.
Wow.
You clever devil. And then we've got 4 questions to answer, like a comprehension paper.
Which of the characters was the biggest cunt?
And why was it Shapiro? To which member was Geoffrey Lord referring? What was the word? What was the solution? How did Geoffrey Lord know?
Well, let's think about it. I mean, you know the answer.
Don't think about it.
Really? Is it not fun?
Don't bother thinking.
Because the problem with this one is that I've been lulled into thinking there might be fun, but you're saying it's not.
No, it's not fun.
It's not a satisfying outcome.
No, it's very, very, very boring. And it's 100%, I'm going to say, with complete certainty, the person in the comments who answered it was the person who wrote it.
It's an alt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
because,
sad.
So, because the knowledge, again, is such a specific thing.
It's the flex. It's the riddle flex.
Yeah.
Where you're like, well, everybody knows that the word hinge is Sanskrit for... What are you doing?
Well, you're not even far off. Someone, Agent Zierdik, said, this was a fun one.
Yeah.
Wrongly. Cardinal comes from the Latin cardo, which means hinge. So William Cardinal is who I would suspect.
Right.
Thank you.
Why unhinged, though?
Well,
for no good reason.
Well, no, here you go.
Okay.
Thank you. I have some more of these I wrote up a while back. I can post them here if you or anyone else is interested.
And
He said to himself, definitely. Right on the money about Cardinal, but that's Jeff's first solution. Remember that the killer is not hinged. He's unhinged. You're killing me, said Agent Zierdik. I love you for it.
Wow, yeah, that's definitely him, isn't it? Okay, so we can eliminate Cardinal.
Wait.
And all the others must all mean hinge.
Got it, said Agent Zierdik.
How much?
Hinged connects to cardinal, which can mean the 4 cardinal directions. Each suspect's first name starts with the same letter as each of the directions, except for Terence. Therefore, Terence Crane is unhinged and the murderer.
Meaningless. Totally meaningless.
Absolutely bullshit.
That's the most fucking mad...
It could not
It doesn't
be
mean
less
anything.
solvable. It doesn't mean anything.
You could solve it on the basis of, like, you've tried so many things that do mean something, and, like, this one...
Eventually,
like,
you stumbled
that's
on
just
something.
one thing that some have in common that one doesn't. But it doesn't mean anything. It's not unhinged, is it?
No, it's not.
It's undirection.
It's undirection relating to the man who was related to Hinge in the most cumbersomely etymological way possible.
Very good.
So I thought that you'd enjoy that.
Jeez.
He's got some more, so I can give those to you maybe another day.
Who was he? Cardinal. He pointed at him.
Not answered.
Oh, good. Okay.
Not answered.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Nice.
Because he wants to keep people going. This was only 2 days ago.
Oh,
People will be
well.
puzzling over this
I'll
for
get right
decades
on
to
after
come.
the show.
Pop it in the old Discord. Now, our final,
Riddell.
not riddle,
Okay.
our final phase of this exploration is a particular form of puzzle that falls slightly within the purview of a riddle.
Okay.
Takes much the same form. And this is the lateral thinking puzzle.
Ah, the stupidest of all. Yeah.
Well, sorry, you said stupidest.
Yes.
But you didn't mean that because obviously it's the one that takes not only the most wit to write,
Yes.
but also the most
solve.
wisdom to
I
answer.
meant make me feel the
Oh.
stupidest of all. Because
Sorry, I was going to say because
I keep guessing that he was stabbed with an ice shard.
Right.
And that's only right 85
Oh,
of the time. So that
God.
10% you feel like a right dunce.
now we've mentioned briefly on the show our favourite of these before, which is here on this little website that I found of lateral thinking puzzles.
Nice.
That takes the form of a not secure website,
Always like to see them.
and B, it's an old HTML, definitely made in Notepad website.
Cool.
Red background,
Nice.
light green text.
Very spooky.
And this particular lateral thinking puzzle stumped you, I know, and you puzzled over it for a good long
Years.
time before coming to the conclusion, having had to look it up, I seem to recall. And it goes thusly. A basketball player lay dead in his driveway next to his mailbox, having shot himself. On closer inspection, the police realised that the mailbox was connected with his death and that this was a murder investigation. What did they discover?
Yeah. Now, people who haven't heard that before or heard us talking about it, they'll probably think, well, it could be lots of things. And that's where you're very wrong.
Because
Because it can only be one thing.
only one thing.
When that's revealed to you, it will be like the end of The Usual Suspects. Everything locks into place.
You're
and
going to
like-
feel so dumb.
But at the same time, enlightened.
You're going to be like the policeman dropping the mug in slow
the
motion.
Kobayashi.
Yeah, because I just want to stress that is a theme with all these lateral thinking puzzles, is that you feel like, well, it could be any number of things, but
and
you are...
even when you throw them out there, they may seem to fit.
And they may
as
seem to fit
answers.
better.
Yeah, but that's you being
Like you
wrong
might
and
have
bad.
gone, well, he got a letter from his wife
From a
saying that
blackmailer,
she'd...
maybe,
Yeah, or from his wife saying she was going to kill herself.
if he didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
sure.
he loved her so much that he did it.
Sure. Wrong and bad.
Here's the answer. Every night, not some nights, every night.
Yeah. I seem to remember that my riddle book said once a fortnight at this point,
well,
which is even less
even
clued
dumber.
by
Yeah.
this.
Every night, a rival basketball player
Yeah.
added half an inch to the post of the mailbox. Now, by post, it means the post holding it up, not
the
within.
mail itself.
After a week, just a week, the player became convinced he was shrinking. Desolate at the prospect of losing his livelihood, the player committed...
But not so interested in checking against any other metric, or indeed the basketball court, not leaving the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, that's a bit weird.
Maybe I'm still very good. No, that's it.
Done.
I'm suddenly 3.5 inches closer to my mailbox. That's it.
It's so stupid, isn't it?
It's so dumb because that is unsolvable.
Well, it
because
means
it's not
nothing.
a solution.
No, it's in fact it's probably like if we could zoom out and have knowledge of every possible solution.
It's within
might be
the
stupidest.
dumbest, like the last percentile.
Yeah, it's definitely skewing that way.
Yeah.
It is. I would really like for someone, and maybe that someone has to be us, to track down the origin of that and find out what the person who came up with that answer was thinking. It can only surely be they had like 10 more of them to write that night.
It was an Upwork.
Oh, fuck. They were just really grasping at straws because it is ridiculous.
And that's one of these lateral thinking, in scare quotes, puzzles that is bad because it deviates from the lateral thinking aspect. It's not about noticing something in the question. It's about, can you imagine the right thing I was thinking about when I wrote it? Because there's one on here that's a good one, right? 2 fathers and 2 sons enter a shop and spend £1.50 each. In total, they spend £4.50. Why?
Because there's a grandfather, a father, and a son.
There you go. Grandfather, father, and a son. Done. That's a lateral thinking puzzle. There's a slightly misleading bit of information that is resolved by something, by a further piece of information that you can extract from the rest of the information from £1.50 and £4.50.
Yeah, it's not a dead genre.
No.
Like, there's scope.
But it's dying.
It's being killed by whoever wrote that.
Yeah. Now, there are a couple of others on here. This one is one that it's not quite as bad as the basketball one, but it is poor because of all the things you have to take for granted when you consider the answer. A man leaves hospital and begins to walk home. On his journey, he passes a telephone box which begins to ring. Instead of answering it, he punches the air and runs all the way home cheering. Why?
I mean, again, so many different reasons.
No, just the one.
So many that I'm thinking of wrongly.
Right, okay, sorry, yeah.
I'm assuming it's to do with getting news of a diagnosis.
Nope.
Maybe something about like a baby.
Nope.
He's just left hospital. He's walking
home.
And the phone box. Was he deaf?
He was deaf. He'd just been cured for deafness. And the ringing phone is the final proof that it has been a success.
Because the road was literally silent.
And also, they didn't bother to check before he left the hospital.
No, and they, in fact, got everyone to shut up to play a big joke on him.
Everyone,
lads, we've just done another.
It's Deaf Tom, quick!
That would be so mean, wouldn't it?
It's so bad. Like, that's bad. It's not as bad.
It's not as bad, yeah.
No, this one I really like. Because
unironically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, ironically as well, but I unironically like it because of the phrasing. I often go to the police station, sometimes in the middle of the night, and destroy considerable numbers of fingerprints. I do not, however, consider myself a criminal.
Very few of them do.
Who am I?
The cleaner.
Well, yeah, obviously. But I love the fact that
I'm not considering myself.
It's not, I'm not a criminal.
Yeah.
In which case, that is like perhaps the only answer. It's, I don't consider myself.
Which means that it could be anyone who's just there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't think evidence tampering really counts.
No. So what I've done to round off the show is I have written 5 lateral thinking puzzles.
Let me just be sure, original content.
This is OC.
That's crazy.
For you to solve.
You're adding ripples into the pool of riddles as it exists in the world. These will outlast you.
And I
all
don't
of us.
I don't want to blow my own horn here.
Yeah.
But I think this is changing the riddle genre.
Wow, okay.
This is some big stuff. Because I've got a riddle with 2 answers.
That's
So
huge.
imagine. That's new
very
for the
good.
form, isn't it?
Very big.
Okay. We start with this. A man opened a book
Uh-huh.
and began to cry.
Wow.
The book was a comedy. Why was he weeping so?
It was published by his rival writer, and it was so good. He was like, I'll never write as funny a book, so he burst into tears.
No, wrong. You see, this is the thing.
I was so sure.
There's only one solution to any of these,
no.
apart from the one that has 2.
Which, there are 2 to that one.
And that's not it.
Okay, God, help me, because I'm floundering out here on Mount Privolo.
He's crying in part out of frustration. Why might he be frustrated?
He's frustrated at I can't read.
He can't read.
Yes!
He couldn't read and is tormented by the ghosts of his illiterate and abusive father.
I didn't know that.
No, well,
I
you
didn't think about it.
No, well, you
enough.
didn't riddle it.
Fuck.
I mean, I didn't say riddle me this, but obviously that's
Yeah, no, it was
implied.
implied.
It's a riddle episode.
I riddled the first stage, but I didn't have the courage of my conviction to riddle all the way.
The follow-up riddling.
Oh,
And you missed the illiterate and abusive father bit, which,
well, it's
I'm going to give you 2 out of 5.
really,
Yeah.
that's generous, because I thought I was probably a 1. Thanks.
That's all right.
Huge riddle, by the way. Great work.
Thank you.
Not enough abusive father figures in the riddle scene.
Well, that's
I've
what I
often
know,
said.
just a real dearth. Now, I'm going to give you 4 keywords. This isn't a riddle. They refer to the riddles themselves, and you can pick which one you want next. So we've got dog,
Okay.
detective,
I wish there were a dog detective one.
pub, and fish.
Hit me with fish.
A smelly man.
Is the answer to the riddle fish? Did you fuck up?
Don't be ridiculous.
Riddle.
What I've tried to do in these, because my favorite aspect of lateral thinking puzzles is that most of them, and indeed all of the poor ones, are just they set up a preposterously precarious and absurd scene and then just go, what happened? Like, why?
What's all that about?
It's literally, what's going on here?
Yeah, it is a good genre.
A smelly man wakes up one morning to find that his bathtub is full of fish. What happened?
He was. Can I ask some follow-up questions?
You just have to give an answer.
Man.
If this were typed up on the internet, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Okay, but they have that thing called the rubber duck debugging, where you speak your thought process out loud to try and find gaps in it. So my initial question is, the order of events, does him being smelly predate the fish in the bathtub? Because if not, then obviously it's a closed loop. And he stinks because he's bathing in fish. The fucking idiot.
The what happened refers mainly to how
fish.
did the bathtub get full of fish?
I can only imagine that this man's abusive father
The ghost
playing
of
a
which
big fishy prank right down his bathway.
he's been telling him all about it in notes, but the poor sod can't read.
Maybe there is maybe the fish is like the horse's head in The Godfather, except where the horse's head was a particular brand of threat relating to, power and reach. This one is about you stink. And so it's like a conglomerate. Maybe the like housing association,
The neighbourhood watch.
have got together and neighbourhood watched a bunch of fish into the stinkiest man's bath as a wake-up call to be like, this dead, rotting fish carcass, this is what we think of you.
Interesting. It's not correct. I'm so sorry. It's not correct.
Was I skirting around?
Yeah,
some of
you
the-
sort of you got close here and there with
could feel some
your
of the
question
rhythm.
about like the circularity. I thought you were going to get onto it because you haven't considered a certain aspect of what that might imply.
Oh man.
So each night he would sleepwalk and put one extra fish into his bath.
Where was he getting the fish from?
Or he was buying them during the day.
To put in the bath later?
No, he didn't know about this.
He'd never been in the bath.
No, he never realised because he had no sense of smell. Hence, he didn't know he was smelly, and hence he never took a bath.
Because that's the only reason you...
Would go into the bathroom, and P.S. he couldn't smell the fish.
And P.S. couldn't brush his teeth.
He couldn't smell the fish and didn't wonder where all the fish kept going that he was buying.
Weird.
Yeah.
And he was hungry for fish every day. The Sisyphean challenge of satisfying a Friday night fish dinner.
And just in case we forget, he was very smelly.
This power reeks. And not just of fish.
But you didn't even consider the no sense of smell angle.
No, I didn't.
And that was your riddling hubris.
Yeah, it was, because I latched onto the fish. I suppose I was taken by the imagery.
Yeah.
And the author of the riddle knew that would happen, and so used it to circumvent me around the solution. Yeah. It's genius. That's another 5-star rid.
Let's have another one that I think you can get.
Okay.
I think you can get this one. 3 dogs walked into a bar. Mm-hmm. But between them, they only had 5 legs.
No.
What's up with that?
Well, they're just disabled dogs.
You didn't think it was going to be that simple, did you? Look at this. Callous riddling.
Okay.
Come on.
12
you can get
dogs.
This.
12 legs is our standard.
For 3 dogs.
For 3 dogs.
But, come on.
Probably slightly less on average.
3 dogs.
3 dogs. What else can dog refer to?
Oh, that's it. His eyes have widened. He's going into the riddle zone in the altered state.
Oh, don't even bring me into the altered state.
Yeah, he's going to be spitting all over the laptop.
I don't have the energy for the altered state. I'm on antibiotics. It'll finish me off.
They say that on the packet. You're not allowed to altered state and take these antibiotics.
Dogs. No, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it.
So close, and yet so far.
Very far.
Dogs refers to pirates, as in you salty dog.
Pirate dogs, and
2
Long
of whom
John
were
Silver.
able-bodied, and 1 of whom had a peg leg.
Oh.
See, the clue should have been the bar. Dogs
don't go to the bar.
No, not by themselves.
No, and not en masse.
Not with 5 legs between them.
Whereas pirates can't keep them out of those.
They're always in there.
Land-based taverns. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do detective.
Okay, I love a detective.
See,
you know
exactly.
that about me.
A detective finds himself in a desperate brawl with a cunning serial killer.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, he kills the man, but stands up and turns around to see the killer standing behind him. Aha, says the second killer. That was my identical twin. You haven't caught me yet. However, instead of fighting him, the detective simply shakes his hand.
Wow.
Why?
Well, he's an idiot.
You're right. No, it's not that he's an idiot.
Now give me the dialogue again. Aha.
Aha, says the second killer.
Yeah.
That was my identical twin. You haven't caught me yet.
You haven't caught me yet.
However, instead of fighting him, the detective simply shakes his hand.
That implies a completed action. So the second killer, despite first appearing with this aha, very dramatic, very
flamboyant.
Yeah, it's an iconic entry. The aha. I very rarely
Alan
use
Partridge.
It myself. So, despite opening with that, the killer happy to go for the handshake.
Yeah.
So either they know each other. What if the detective was the triplet, and they were 3 identical lads?
Right.
They'd not met the other one before.
Right.
And he thought that the first one, they thought they were just twins.
Okay.
But actually they were 3. End of story.
You're not
and also there was no crime.
You're not even close.
Let me tell you some other angles.
Okay, go for it.
Maybe they were having a fight for an antidote for some skin contact poison, that the detective won the fight, downed the antidote, and then is disarming this second killer. It could be news to him that there is a second killer. He's like, let's not fight. Look, I know I'm supposed to be the long arm of the law, but here's my long arm. Get yours around it. shake to get, and then he kills him like that.
You're correct. It's
No
the answer.
way.
The answer is he's wearing the horrid poison glove from the season 2 finale of 24.
Oh my god, I'm amazing.
You're incredible. You Lateral thought that to fuck.
Wow, I never would have anticipated getting this far. I guess that's why they pay me the big bucks.
And that's why it's only a 1-star riddle. Because you've solved it.
That's going to the top of the league table in the Ridmunity
Wow.
for sure.
I think it's going to be big.
Really good.
Last one.
Oh, it's kind of sad.
Yeah,
it
I was
saddens
gonna
me that
say-
we've got to this stage, but maybe this can be just the start of something new for you, because clearly you have an affinity for the riddle.
I've got a knack.
Yeah.
I've got a knack. I think, this last one, I've saved a kind of easy one till last. But here we go. We'll see how we do to round it off. And maybe we can judge my future career as Riddler.
Yeah. Riddler
I
combo.
might have to change my name to some sort of pun. I
Yeah.
could be the Piazzle.
Declan Ingbat. That's a type of riddle.
Oh, wow. I like it.
Yeah.
Apart from the idea of being called Ingbat.
Mr. Ingbat.
Mr.
nice.
Ingbat, I've been expecting you. A little girl walks into a pub and orders an alcoholic drink. The barman doesn't ask for her for ID, just serves her. What's going on?
She's a dwarf.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the thing is,
And she was used to being patronised. That's why they referred to her as a girl rather than a woman.
no, you've gone the wrong angle there. The thing that you missed, of course, was that this was the one with 2 solutions.
She was a dwarf.
The second
Or...
being that they're just very lax standards there at the bar.
Or it
And
was
they
the
didn't-
past.
They didn't really care.
Or she was a famously violent little girl who would fuck up anyone who
No,
denies
see,
her boobs.
now you're doing this thing where there are like infinite solutions that
That's
is anything
on me.
you want. And the thing is, you haven't got that from the context.
No,
which
I
makes
bought
it
that.
very specific as to what the 2 answers could be, which is dwarf or lazy barman.
Yeah. And those...
That's
two-
it.
That's the yin and yang of the riddle world.
That's the totality of the potential answer.
Well, hats off to the riddle master himself.
you.
I think you've provided not only me, but the riddle community and the listenership at large with food for thought. And it's not just that like calorific, dense stodge that some of those Reddit riddles provide.
No.
You've given us a kind of riddle levity, a riddle sense of fun that's really been lacking from some of the stuff we've read up until now.
I'm really glad to hear that, because when I set out to write these lateral thinking puzzles, I was thinking I'm going to make it all about various bird Latin that others might not know, and I could show off for myself then to come in and answer.
Yeah.
Like Syndrome, where he like sets the robot on the city so he can go and save it. But then I thought, actually, the moral of that film was that he is the villain.
What? Oh, yes,
Yeah.
he was.
Second
you're
viewing,
right.
second viewing.
Yeah.
You get it. Second or third for me, I think.
Yeah, good point, actually.
And so I won't do that. What I'll do is I'll just write ones that are very quick to do because they haven't got very strict parameters.
Yeah, no, it was really good, and it's a fresh take. And
Exactly.
and the riddle community, it's always needed like to branch out from that core sect of people.
It's so set in its old ways. It's
just
very
needs a
kind of
white male voice.
stuffy. Yeah, well, exactly. It's what's really been lacking. It's
It's a fresh perspective.
Too socialist, too queer.
Yeah.
For really the modern day.
Absolutely.
And like most industries, if it wants to revolutionize, if it really wants to free up a working voice, then it's going to need the white male to step in.
Step in with some brand new
Yeah,
action.
exactly.
Well, this has been a hell of an episode. We've learnt, we've laughed.
We've loved.
I've torn the injury on my arm for sure,
Good.
which has been a real source of joy. There are a bunch of ways people can get in touch with us, and I'm certain that they will be
Assuming you survive.
chomping at the bit to get in touch with some of their other solutions to these riddles, or indeed new riddles
Well,
themselves.
not other solutions. They're incorrect guesses.
other
You-
incorrect solutions.
You
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
doing that,
I
and
know,
I'm going to have to
I
pull
know.
you up every time.
How would you recommend they get in touch? Maybe you could give it in the form of a riddle that you... I don't want to put you on the spot. Improvise now.
Well, don't, because I'm not going.
My
to.
first
No,
is
I
in.
can't. Email
Yeah.
and
also
all the
in-
other 5. 4.
Nice.
Unless you
tass@shame.city.
count the hyphen.
We don't.
Do we not?
No. tass@shame.city. Today's riddle, work out how many S's are in that. More than you'd think.
It's one.
And less than you'd hope.
You could contact us on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
That would be @that'sashamecast
Yep.
for the show. At
Or
Isaac.
would it?
No, it would.
Oh, would it?
Oh, you've riddled it.
Yeah, riddle me that.
That is some lateral thinking.
Yeah, and here's Declan's one. @DE Dill. You've got to guess the rest.
Wow.
See if you can.
Wow. That's a cool task because we're sort of gating content
Yeah, and
that we
our
don't have
popularity.
already.
Really good. Really good.
You can also get in touch via the website, shame.city/contact or shame.city/discord if you'd like to get a more personal
Yeah, get
tone
on the Discord, the
going. Give us a
24/7
little chat.
hype.
As ever, of course, if you wish to spread the good word of the Shame City, then you can wommy bomb. Word of mouth is best of mouth.
Riddles are back.
I've had that proven. Yeah, that's an oral tradition that you will stand alongside the wommy bomb, possibly just
For
underneath
sure.
it on the podium. And of course, if you have but $1 to spare, then
Riddle me this. We're poor as sin.
Wow,
Chuck it our way.
that is a riddle with just one answer. Patreon.com/shamecity.
Anything. Always appreciated.
We've just done some extra content. We've got some extra content still just to do. It's
going to be nuts.
But it's going to be out there. It's going to be big.
April's a huge month.
It's big.
And I don't mean for us. I just mean for the world.
And you're not talking about because it's April Fool.
No, I'm not. Of course not. Far that's a very Ridley day, though, April Fool's.
You weren't just getting those wrong as a little joke, were you? Some of those. Okay.
No.
Good. I don't want you to be like mollycoddle me like that.
No.
No. Okay, good.
Until episode 137.
38.
April Fool.
Oh, you fucking...
You fell into
dragged me. Oh.
I've been Isaac. You've been.
I've been cucked.
We'll see you real soon.
Bye, guys.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.